In the early 4th century, the Roman Empire was breaking apart. You had pagans worshiping many gods, you had Jewish communities holding to the law of Moses, and you had Christians, a small minority, meeting in homes who were not just persecuted, they were being hunted, tortured, and killed because they refused to bow to Rome's gods. Then in 313 AD, Constantine issued the Edict of Milan. That ended the killing of Christians. He legalized the Christian faith and brought it inside the protection of the empire. Constantine wasn't trying to merge religions. What he wanted was stability. Rome was already falling apart, and Christianity offered Rome something that Rome desperately needed: one God, one moral code, one community that already existed in every province. Constantine used Christianity as a unifying force so that he could steady the empire. But the real moment of Roman control came later. In 380 AD, Theodosius made Christianity the official state religion of the Roman Empire. That changed everything. Theodosius did what Constantine never did. He used the church as a tool of political control. Pagan worship was pushed out, imperial courts enforced doctrine, church councils were backed by imperial power. At that point, Rome and the church were no longer separate. Rome was shaping the church, and the church was strengthening Rome. And when you move a persecuted faith into the center of political power, the faith itself begins to change. Pagans converted for social advantage and brought their symbols and festivals with them. That's why early Christian art starts showing the mother and child imagery similar to the old depictions of Isis and Horus. It was the culture bleeding into the church. At the same time, Christian leaders began building worship in the style of Jewish ceremony. Altars, vestments, incense, and a priestly system slowly returned. None of this happened overnight. It developed over centuries as the church absorbed Roman politics, pagan culture, and ritual thinking. The result was the beginning of the institutional Roman Catholic system. By the Middle Ages, the church had the name of Christ, but much of the simple biblical pattern of worship had been buried under layers of tradition, power, and ceremony. More than 1,000 years later, men like Martin Luther called the church back to Scripture. And in 1517, the Reformation reminded the world that salvation was never about politics, rituals, or cathedrals. It was always about Christ alone.